All right, good morning. My name is Chasen Ishii, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd like to now call to order the December 6, 2023 Kalaeloa Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. The time is now 10:40.
Thanks, Chair. In accordance with section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's Kalaeloa board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details were included on the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site at the American Brewery Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor, boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The HCDA communication staff is hosting this meeting. Once this meeting begins, everyone will be muted for clearer audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourselves to speak. This is a public virtual meeting, so to prevent any distractions, if you are not a board member, staff member, or HCDA's Attorney General, please turn off your video during the meeting. If you are providing public testimony, your name will be called accordingly. Please turn your video on, clearly state your name and your affiliation and proceed with your testimony. When you have finished, please turn off your video. In accordance with section 92-3.7C, Hawaii Revised Statutes, that the authorities connection for the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated and the authority will continue meeting at another notice date. Thank you. Chair.
HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting. Also, please acknowledge you are present by either saying here or present. Let the record reflect the following members are present. Vice Chair Higa.
Present.
Secretary Apo.
Present.
Member Miranda Johnson.
Present.
Member Anderson.
Present.
Member Hirai is excused. Member Evans.
Present.
And Member Ray. Member Ray? Excused. For today's meeting, board members will have an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted into the meeting respectively. The first item on our agenda is the regular meeting minutes of October 4th, 2023. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? If there are no comments or questions, the minutes are approved as presented. Item number 2, which is a decision-making item, consider authorizing the executive director to schedule hearings pursuant to Chapter 91, Hawaii Revised Statutes, HRS, and Chapter 201M HRS regarding proposed amendments to the 2006 Kalaeloa Plan and Rules, Chapter 15-215, Hawaii Administrative Rules, to clarify rules, streamline permitting, improve planning, and make other amendments. Mr. Ryan Tam, Director of Planning and Development, will now present HCDA's staff report. Right?
Hi, good morning, Chair Ishii and board members. Again, the subject of the presentation and the requested action today is the Kalaeloa Community Development District Master Plan and Rules. That's Chapter 15-215, Hawaii Administrative Rules. Again, since we last presented this topic in front of the board in June of 2023, we did have a community meeting to consider additional public input and feedback into the draft of planning rules. We did get a number of comments from primarily from developers and landowners in Kalaeloa. We are working to address those comments. A number of those comments actually are in this updated plan, and I have a short presentation to provide some of the highlights of those comments and adjustments. And we are going to be requesting action to move this, ahead. And schedule the hearings as we move forward. So again, can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. So again, the goal of the planning rules amendments, again, we're trying to reflect the community needs, streamline, facilitate development, promote livable, walkable communities. This is just an example of the conceptual build out that's in rendering that's in the draft plan. Again, some of the updates, we're still working on updating the text of the plan throughout, but one of the things that we have been able to put in based on work from our new staff members, there's Charlene Okawong, also Nancy Nishikawa. They recently joined our planning staff. And with their experience and background, we've actually been able to expand the historic and cultural background of the Kalaeloa area in the text. And that's one feedback that we got, that it needs to have much more connection to the place and to the history of Kalaeloa, of the Ahupua'a. So that's one thing that we're adding in. Again, along those same lines, again, connecting it more to the place, we're attempting to use more Olelo Hawaii in the plan and rules, in the plan. And so maybe translating some of the key visions into Olelo and trying to reflect that more, give a stronger sense of place throughout the document. So that's one thing that our consultants are working on, and we're also hoping to get some additional support on this. And certainly we're open to any community feedback and community assistance on this. Again, just some examples of proposed amendments. Again, clarifying rules and streamlining procedures, allowing more flexible land use, adding overlay frontage zone on Saratoga, so that creates a more stronger Main Street and associated urban sense of place. Again, aligning it with city standards. Oops, sorry. Removal of the minimum parking requirements, again, just like what we're doing in Malka, Kakako Malka, Kakako Makai. Supporting renewable energy and incorporating some lessons learned. One of the feedbacks that we did get is to kind of update the regulating plan. So we got a request from the Department of Hawaiian Homelands to give them their own zoning district, because they are exempt from state regulatory actions. So that's one thing that we're reflecting in this. Also, you'll also notice the red dashed line up at the upper right-hand corner. So again, we're trying to create now an overlay district for the Eva Battlefield historic site. So that's one thing that's been recognized by the on the National Historic Register, and so we want to introduce some additional zoning design controls on that, additional design reviews, and also just reinforce the state historic preservation role in especially within the boundary of the battlefield. So that's one thing. This issue has been I guess affecting the development and affecting kind of the ability of some of the developers to move forward in these areas. So that's one thing that we're trying to help use these rules to this opportunity to resolve this issue. And again, I think the additional design reviews, it's just making sure, we just want to make sure that any development that goes in within the boundaries of this district would follow the Secretary of Interior standards under the National Park Service. So they do have design standards for building adjacent to, you know, or incorporating with a national with a historic buildings. So again, just updating the regulating plan, like that. Again, we're also trying to simplify it. We also are incorporating, again, feedback from the developers, the development community on their proposed plans and making sure that we're accommodating the desired uses. Also, again, simplifying the land use table. This is the initial draft and incorporating some of their uses on that. And lastly, again, the primary thing that we're trying to do is to streamline the permitting. And so on the left, you have examples of the type of work that could occur. Most disruptive at the top, kind of least short-term examples of work at the bottom. Again, the current rules, you have a development permit and a very, you know, very all-encompassing improvement permit and rules clearance. So again, these are permits that are kind of not tailored to the type of work that could go on. Again, we're trying to create more discrete permits that are easier to implement and easier to administer, that are both focused on the transit areas and also the type of work. So again, it should simplify it, should make it more efficient and streamline it for applicants. Again, pending board approval, we intend to take this to the Small Business Regulatory Review Board tomorrow. Tomorrow is their last meeting of the year. And pending their approval, we would schedule presentation hearings in February, decision making in March. And again, between now and February, our intention is to continue refining the rules. And we also, I think we got some feedback from some of the developers, and so we want to make sure that we'll have a draft in time, ahead of the hearing in February, and possibly even some additional community input sessions. So we'll be working through that in the next couple weeks. With that, subject to your questions.
Members, are there any questions or comments on the staff report? Member Evans?
Brian, can you explain what the transect land zones, I'm not familiar with the term.
Yeah, transects, and it's also something that I've been learning about. I'll have to get the reference to you, but basically there's a transect zones from 0 or 1 is like rural up to 5, which is more urban.
Oh, okay.
Downtown. So that basically spans the gamut of that. I think it's 20 years I've heard. But it's a concept that goes pretty back to that. So yeah, again, so I think a transect of 0 is like, you know, a very rural, like no development. And then it just increases.
The idea is to create a continuum
Yep.
of density that allows for a variety of uses, but not putting high rise next to your lowest density use, something like that.
Yeah, okay, basically. So yeah, it's basically a spectrum.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Evans. Any other questions on the staff report?
You have one.
Yes, Member Evans.
So we're seeing the impacts of climate change in terms of disasters that
Yes.
affect existing structures.
Yep.
Is there any provision in either the current rules or the proposed rules for the ability of property owners to rebuild with a more expedited permit? So, or do you default to the county non-conforming use ordinance?
Yeah, so, and thank you for that question. So again, we do, for building permits, we do default to the county on that. I think our goal for this coming year, 2024, is to actually address, in more detail, the climate change, sea level rise and sustainability.
So one of the things we're learning from the Maui Lahaina wildfires is that a non-conforming use ordinance that allows to rebuild if no more than 50% of the structure is damaged.
Yeah.
Doesn't help property owners when a greater than 50% is damaged, and yet the need for perhaps expedited permitting when you have a large area of damage is being raised by those impacted owners. I'm wondering if the rules could anticipate, not to, we're seeing impacts that we never, expected. And I'm wondering if that could be something that gives, property owners that a expedited route through your expedited permitting to repair damage that might be greater than the county's ordinance allows for.
So that's something that certainly we can consider working into these rules. I think at the very minimum, we were planning to just put the basic language that development must consider, climate change and resilient development into the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we were thinking that as we develop and get the industry feedback and community feedback on the more details of what the climate change, climate adaptation rules, we could do those as either a separate set of rules or then incorporate those into the existing rules. So kind of a two-step, but that's something that certainly we can consider. And I know, it's very, the whole insurance and rebuilding issues are very sobering. And so, if we need to consider that sooner rather than later, we can look into that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the staff report? Okay, so we will now accept public testimony in the following order: persons who have signed up prior to the meeting date, persons present in physical location, and persons online in Zoom. There are currently two individuals who signed up for testimony. There's an
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, so if you could please, for those that are gonna testify, if you can please turn on your camera, introduce yourself.
There is no camera or feature
There's
for
no-
me to.
Okay, so can you please introduce yourself and your affiliation?
If I can have the camera, Kalamai, because if I can have the camera, because I did need the camera for my testimony.
Oh,
Sorry. So if you can allow for the Zoom settings for camera, please.
Cannot, sorry.
yeah, I apologize. It looks like this particular program doesn't have that capability.
I think you can submit, if you have something visual, you can submit
It
it.
was a video. It was part of a
Okay.
video to play. Okay, well, and then, but before my testimony starts, I have a couple of non-testimony related issues that I wanted to bring up first because I had to wait so I could be unmuted. But one is, let's see. Regarding the minutes, by the way, I know you mentioned that there was like about 120 testimonies and mostly developers and landowners, but we were not included, the public that we were there. And so we're not included in that. And because you're trying to incorporate, I guess, what we have feedback we gave you, but in not in the way we would like. So the use of like translation into Olelo Hawaii. Just want to bring that out that, on paper it means nothing, honestly, and it's heva. It's through action and practice. It's like cultural appropriation. So my question to that would be like, are the developers Kanaka Maoli that they're gonna, you're gonna translate things into Olelo Hawaii so people can think that it's protecting and traditional culture Hawaiian practices? Because if they're not Kanaka Maoli, then why use Olelo Hawaii? It's deceiving. And when you use Olelo Hawaii, you need to know that there's Kuleana to practice and Malama, the place, which is the opposite of what this amendment to simplify the permitting process to develop and develop does. And so part of my video that I was going to present, it was a 1-minute video. Let me know. I'm gonna play a part of it to see if you can hear the audio, because that's how I would like to start my testimony.
Okay.
I'll play it. So
Remember,
if you
just
can
to
hear,
let
can
you
we
know,
hear?
yes, but just to let you know that you only have 3 minutes per testimony, yeah? So just.
Yeah,
just
that
to
wasn't
be-
part of testimony. That was just non-testimony. Can you hear this?
Give a chance and ask permission to enter.
Yes.
We will listen to you if it is at our home and see if you're very sincere about this. And then we chant back to you and allow you to come in. We have these kinds of chants for almost anything. When we go up to the forest, we have a chant to ask permission to go in the forest and gather different things to make our lays or gather medicine. All of this is just a sense of asking permission, knowing that there is something there that guards and protects and takes care of these different things. It's a very humbling thing to ask permission. And it's even more humbling when you are, of status to ask permission. And sometimes we all need to do that.
So again, that's part of my testimony, that to ask permission, that's true traditional Hawaiian cultural practice, to ask permission. So I'll leave it with that. Did you ask for permission? Because part of my other testimony, that which I needed a camera for, was a visual, because I have all these tabs open. One to the Commission of Water Resource Management, November 21st, 2023 meeting, in which agenda item C3, the state water drought presentation was given. And in there, they gave the facts for each ahupua'a on other islands, including Oahu, including the Honouliuli area. So we're in a drought condition. We're only at or allow 166 million gallons per day for this ahupua'a. Now you add on that all these development, you add on that Eva Gentry housing is losing 15 million gallons or up to 25 million gallons of fresh water per month. And this has been going on for years, because they cannot find out where it is, their water meter system, and the Board of Water Supply can't go on because private land, et cetera, et cetera. But it's up to like $3 million a month minimum that they're losing, and it's been going on for years. And I have another tab open into the Watershed Management Plan, the Board of Water Supply, in which they have 4 areas of water management plan. And the only one that they're updating right now is East Oahu, which happened in August. Now, let me ask you, your public testimony process, your timeline, who knows about all these things unless you're constantly in it, unless you're a developer or like a big landowner and you know the process. So I have all these tab opens, but the one I had open that I really wanted you to see is this, and tying it into permission, is the fact that this is an illegal occupying state that runs as a corporation, and then your only job mission is to develop. That's what the state of Hawaii created you all for. Now, the tab I have open that I was going to show you that relates to permission again is that area, when you click on in Kipuka database, it says Land Commission Award, Ke Kauanohi. We have descendants that we spoke of that we are not included in the minutes of the meeting for these amendments, there are descendants of Kekonohi who are speaking up and who have spoken up, and they say, no, they're not giving you permission to develop. We do not want this master plan. We do not want overdevelopment in Honouliuli because of overdevelopment for water, overdevelopment for sewer, the old infrastructure. It's just giving out. We know our water bill is going up 50% in the next 5 years. Like it's just going up. My maintenance here, our blades, it's going up. Our electricity already went up because of the fires. And if you want to mention impact about fires, you cannot have water as an afterthought after you develop, then it's too late. And which brings me to the meaning of this agenda item, amendments. You want to change the zoning, T2 zoning. I was in that first presentation. You know why there's no T1 zoning? Because it was developed, and that sounds exactly like Mauna Kea. Oops, we develop it, can return it to its natural habitat. So it's just developed over, it's just ruined the natural pristine. So T2 is open area and rural. Open space and park, park areas, open space, green areas, and rural, which is normally agriculture. You guys want to change that to permit temporary or like lodging, and then also increase short-term rental permits. That is HEVA. Why have rules? Why have zoning to change it to facilitate more development, which we are saying enough. We've seen the impacts now in Maui. There are still, because I went yesterday I've been to the Maui Kanto County's meetings and all these meetings, all these water meetings, VLNR meetings, everything. They still have yesterday that mayor's bill for incentive only. It's not even a rule. Incentive to short-term rental owners to rent out their place to long-term residents. Now there are still 6,700 individuals that are displaced that have no homes. That's what FEMA counts by individuals. Red Cross counts by families. There are still 2,700 families displaced, and then they have no housing. Now, this long-term housing bill incentive is only for a year. Where they're going to go after that? They're still being moved and asked to move on a day's notice, like from the morning and the afternoon. These are all of these things that you guys keep talking about, but you have to stop and think and redo this whole thing, not include Olelova in this plan, first of all, ask permission, know that there's land titles, there's land awards, and there's royal patents, and there are descendants that are saying, Ole, no, we do not want this development. There are impacts to our water, our watershed. We're already reaching like the no going back point for our water. We still have the fuel being in the tanks. They haven't finished defueling. They have not finished because I've been going to all of those meetings as well.
Rojas, you
And
need
so
to, you need to
I wrap it up.
summarize.
So there is overcapacity of water and sewer. There is no permission. There's overdevelopment, and we cannot say, oh, after the fact it's built. So you need to stop this, halt this process, and you all need to look at the Commission Water Resource Management, the Board of Water Supply Watershed Management Plan. You need to know that UH West Oahu's tomorrow is going to have a meeting for memorandum of agreement to build student housing. So it's still in our Ahupua'a, in addition
Thank you,
to
Ms. Rojas.
water
Thank you.
leakage. Mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, public testimony is Moleka Hicks.
Mr. Hicks,
You have 3 minutes. Moleka Hicks.
Hello, can you
hello,
guys
Mr.
hear me?
Hicks. Yeah,
we
you
can.
got 3 minutes.
Sorry, it's kind of loud outside. But yeah, Maleka Hicks speaking, and some of what the sentiments that Tita Tiara stated, I concur. Those of you may already have heard me on previous board meetings and my stance in how I feel and what is law and what is actually supposed to be occurring in this occupied territory of Hawaii. First of all, by erasing the open space from T2, now it just will be rural, right? If I'm not mistaken. So that means HCDA will allow more dense development in an already area that cannot support it. I'm trying to understand, wrap my brain cells around why are you guys still allowing this type of destruction, pillaging to occur in our occupied nation of Hawaii, thus committing more war crimes in our occupied country of Kohawaii Aina. This magnitude of a construction, Aina cannot take it. I have expressed many times in your guys' previous meetings, or maybe not you guys' previous meetings, but in many state of Hawaii de facto corporation meetings, I have expressed many times why you guys should not be um, doing any actions in Hawaii. First and foremost, you guys have been put on notice in regards to your war crimes that you guys are committing. So I'm just trying to understand why you guys are still going forward with these developments. HCDA, Honokea Surf Village, and any other tax map key holders, none of you guys has clear title to Royal Patent number 6971 and Land Commission Award 11216, given by His Majesty and King Kauia Oli to Miriam Kekawanohi, which is King Kamehameha's granddaughter. So only the descendants of these lands, of these ahupua'a, this is Hono'uli'uli ahupua'a. Only the descendants of this ahupua'a can say what transactions or anything happens here in this nation. So anything done on these lands, it actually violates international laws. I've expressed that under pillaging, destruction, and appropriation. Under the Department of Defense Laws of Land Warfare Field Manual 27-10, 1949 Geneva 3, 1949 Geneva 4, under 18 U.S. Code Section 2441. Thus, you guys violating His Majesty, the King of the Hawaiian Islands, King Kamehameha III, 1850 self-executing ratified treaty with the United States of America under your guys' Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, and your guys' Constitution, Article 6, Section 2. I am a part of the Minister of Interior government. I am a tip staff. I was present at the Iolani Palace. We have sent notices to every department in the state of Hawaii, Josh Green, every taxation department, everybody received a notice, every police department. You guys will receive a notice, but your higher ups did not advise you guys that there is a proclamation occurring in Kohawaii Aina as of May 26, 2023, public proclamation. Josh Green received our proclamation. I have the receipts. I have the green cards, envelope stamps. By the way, my handwriting is on all those envelopes. So I'm just letting you guys know that major war crime violations is coming your guys' way. We are working with other people and other diplomatic nations who we have treaties with and getting you guys held accountable for all of you guys' war crimes. And it's a whole bunch of you guys. And I'm sure you guys do not want to go down like that, right? For international crimes against humanity. And like I said, you know, we have proof of that. Jen Ruggles, previous council member, in Mokuokeawe, Big Island, she actually got word from the United Nations, which was a memorandum sent to the state of Hawaii judiciaries notifying all you guys that this is an occupied nation and you guys must abide by the laws of the occupied territory. And what is that? That is Hawaiian Kingdom law. Your guys' Hawaii Revised Statute is an
Mr. Hicks,
edited, diluted
President.
version, dumbed down version of Hawaiian Kingdom law. We, Hawaiian subjects and Hawaiian nationals, many of us whom are on this Zoom meeting, exercise the laws of the land. We exercise Hawaiian Kingdom law. And once again, formally putting you guys on notice in this beautiful Makahiki season that you guys will be liable and held accountable to international law, crimes against humanity, and the laws of the land.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. All right, next, public testimony is from Kia Kua. Keakua?
That would be me. Aloha mai kapu. Thank you for the opportunity. There was a lot said today. First, I'd like to just put you folks on notice officially. As you are a municipal body corporate entity, HCDA is an extension of the state of Hawaii, operating in commerce under Admiralty and Maritime contracts. I am a Koko, born blood descendant of the royal families of Ko Hawaii Pai'aina of the kingdom, specifically to Ke Kauanohi, Land Commission Award 11216. I have already put on notice to the burial council. Having informed them, I came in my royal attire and I informed them that as a descendant recognized in court, land court, recognized genealogy, adjudicated upon in the Maui land court, the family has spoken and we are not okay with this development. I have brought my kupuna here today to speak to your kupuna in your ancestry. I am a culture practitioner, a kahuna of the art. I do not practice ana. I am not here to curse anybody, but I am here to put you on notice. This is a spiritual contract that cannot be followed through. First and foremost, your T2 zoning under HAR, under your Hawaii Administrative Rules 15 to 1523 of 50 units or less. Sounds like HCDA is working hard to be a partner to a development that seeks to erect structures that will further divert water coming from Waiahole. Waiahole's waters come over into Honouliuli. Honouliuli and its entirety from Hiko electric power plant all the way to the borders in Pearl City belongs to my aunt, who I am blood-born of, the Kamehameha lineage. If you are not aware, today's notice puts you on that lawful spiritual contract into the courts of heaven. I am taking this petition with all three of you, including HCDA, to the courts of heaven to petition God that this unfair and unjust act to develop homes, units, buildings of 50 units or less in the midst of a water crisis. Maui fell to ashes. We all have a kuleana to the future generation. If you create more structures, you allow this permitting to occur, where will your grandchildren be able to play in the streams? Not going to have. Where will they play in the oceans while we allow these developments to desecrate Aina? I just said there's EV, right? So as we allow this permitting to rezone, where will your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, where will they play on the Aina of my kupuna? On the backs of my kupuna. Remember, you are here as guests. And I'm talking to your ancestors in the spirit because they are the only people who can move you. Your mother, your fathers, your grandfathers, your grandmothers have gone. But if you are invited here as a guest to my Aina, to my soil, to my country, you have a duty to facilitate that in your corporate municipal entity. It is not for commerce. It is for the future generations of your grandchildren. When we are gone, where will they play? What waters will they have? You allow development to occur, there will be not enough water, just like Maui. And your families and my families and the future generations of Hawaii, you are a guest here. Operate as such. Remember who you are. Remember where you come from. Because I know where I come from. I can take my genealogy back to 1,000 years. You people are dutiful people. Honor that duty. This permitting cannot occur because of the future loss of our people, that we not repeat what happens on Maui. This zoning is only for development of which a fragile sewage system cannot handle. And I plead with your hearts and your kupuna to please do the honorable thing. Look outside of commerce and contracts, because it is about people. It is about people. Mahalo for your time. Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha. I think, Tara Ross, you raised your hands one more time. Please again, limit it to 3 minutes though.
Aloha. Yes, no, I just wanted to make sure that descendant of Kekauanohi, was acknowledged and that you would be able to let her testify. And I just really want to make sure that you all know that you're speaking to a direct descendant and the people of these lands, and that there can be a flexibility. If you're gonna remove zoning, change it to desecrate land that you cannot get back, then you can allow for more than 3 minutes for a direct descendant to testify as well as others. Because who else really comes to these meetings? Only us who are aware of what's happening, and we want to say no, and we want to stop this development. So again, I think you can be flexible with extra minutes, extra time, because a lot of times, I'm the only one in this meeting, and so now, or there's only our group who are saying no to this. And again, there is, currently a lawsuit for development in this area. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions or comments to these public testimony? If not, is there a motion for the board to authorize the executive director to schedule hearings pursuant to chapter 91 Hawaii Revised Statutes HRS and chapter 201M HRS regarding proposed amendments to the 2006 Kalaeloa Plan and Rules, chapter 15-215 Hawaii Administrative Rules to clarify rules, streamlining permitting, improve planning, and make other amendments?
Member Higa so
Yeah.
moves.
Member
Do I have
Upvote
a-
seconds.
The motion has been made by Vice Chair Higa, second by Member Uphold. Is there any other further discussion, members? If not, Ryan, will please take your roll call.
Chair Ishii,
Yes.
Vice Chair Higa,
Yes.
Secretary Poe,
Yes.
Member Miranda Johnson,
Yes.
Member Anderson,
Yes.
Member Harai is excused, Member Evans,
Yes.
and Member Ray is excused. Motion passed with 6 yes, no, 2 excused, and no abstain.
Thank you, Ryan. Next thing on the agenda is a report of the executive director. Craig Nakamoto, executive director, now will present the monthly report.
Thank you, Chair. In the interest of time, the Executive Director's report is contained in tab 3, and I'm open to any questions.
Are there any questions for the executive director on his executive report? No questions? No. All right, thank you for those who have joined us on Zoom or in person. This concludes our business for today, and the meeting is adjourned, and the time is now 11:23. Thank you.
Thank you.